Okay, so today what we're going to do is a live Q&A on SEO, and if we're waiting for comments in the meantime, I'm just going to run through some of the latest questions, but feel free to ask away in the live chat right here and we'll just get straight into it. So one of the first questions I actually got was, my site has lost 98% traffic since last year's September 2023 update until today. I'm very confused. Any tips? So if you got hit by the September update last year, that sounds like the helpful content update. And if we look at this particular question right here, so you can see it right here and zoom in right there. So the only thing that I've heard of when it comes to the HCU update is recovery in terms of content pruning. But again, even for that, I've only heard of like one or two recovery cases. I've not seen many instances where sites have improved their rankings after updates. Akram says, let's go. I agree with that. And yeah, I think since the HCU update last year, there's some sort of classifier on websites, right? Where basically, even if you update your website, it might take 8 months before you see any signs of recovery. At the same time, it's hard to say what you've been doing and what you haven't been doing, but I would look at potentially content pruning your website as well. So if you look at Authority Hacker, I think they talked about it recently, and maybe I'll get them on the channel again if they decide to, but I'm trying to find the video, I can't find it. But either way, what you can do is look at your website, prune the pages not getting any traffic, either by de-indexing them or unpublishing them, and then go from there. I've not tested it personally, so I don't want to say like that's the thing you definitely should do. I've not seen many recovery cases from the helpful content update last year, but that seems to be the only thing that is working in terms of actual case studies. Sam Reen says how to find keywords. Okay, so you got two options really. Number one is a free option, and number two is the paid option, right? So I'm going to show you some examples of how you can do this for free, first of all, and then we can go from there. So I'm just going to open up Google. And all right, so one of the first things that you can do completely free, this is the alphabet soup method. You can basically type in your niche, let's say, for example, SEO, and then you would just go through each letter of the alphabet, for example, like SEO, and just scrape all the relevant keywords related to that. And then you go on to B and C. SEO is not a good example because it comes up with loads of Korean stuff. So I'm just going to go with search engine optimization. And then you see, right, search engine optimization A, search engine optimization B, search engine optimization C, etc. And this is a really easy way to find low competition keywords because they're quite long tail as well. And you can also figure out, okay, these are all the topics across the whole alphabet that I could cover relevant to my website, and then just go from there. Now, there's a few other ways you can do this as well. So if you're doing this for free, I always like to show the free ways because then you get more value. So I'm going to go onto Ahrefs keyword generator, like so. We'll change this to English. And if we go over here, this is a free tool where you can type in your niche. For example, I don't know, let's say best bird food, something like that. Then you would select your country, then you would hit find keywords, and literally in the space of a few seconds, you're going to find a bunch of low keyword difficulty keywords straight off the bat, right? So KD7, KD4, KD0, KD3, 5, 2, 0, etc. And that is one of the easiest and fastest ways to figure out, okay, exactly what we need to rank for in terms of keyword research. If you want more details on that, let me know. Maybe I can create a full video on that. And actually, if you check out my free SEO course, links in the comments and description, you'll find a whole section on keyword research and loads of different ways to do this for free, for paid. If you want to figure out keyword difficulty, usually the paid method is better. But if you just want to get loads of keywords and you're not sure where to start, then the free methods work as well. That's basically how it goes step by step. Repentance, Revival, Rapture says, hello, my blessed brother. How do you maintain so many blogs and how can you do so? So that's a really good question. I like this one. All right. So typically what I like to do, I'm going to document this into a whole system right here, and I'll give it away as well. So in terms of managing multiple sites, ideally what you want to have is a team that helps you manage everything, right? So in terms of the roles, you would have a project manager, and they would be responsible for managing your team, right? Because you don't want to be doing that directly, especially if you have multiple writers, multiple link builders, people optimizing your site, people doing the keyword research, etc. It's a very big team and very messy. So instead, what you want to do is have one project manager who manages everyone plus organizes them. And I'll come on to how you can keep them in line and the sort of ways you can make sure they're very efficient in terms of their time. So you would have a project manager, writer for each site, who can also do keyword research as well. And then you're also going to need someone who can just set up the site in terms of design, internal links, EAT signals, etc. And finally, a link builder, right? So you want someone who can build backlinks and get authority to the site. Now, if you look at the actual structure, this is basically how it would work hierarchically, right? So you've got the project manager at the top. Then for each website, you got a writer, admin, and link builder. They're basically the three main positions. Now, you can go as detailed as you want. There's a lot more to it. But if you really want to simplify on a quick YouTube live, that's essentially how you would do it. Now, additionally, you want to set some KPIs and make sure everyone is rowing in the same direction. Because the problem is, if I open up the whiteboard here, I do like to get the whiteboard out. If you've got a big team of people, it can get very messy and very complicated. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please feel free to smash a like on it. But essentially, you want to make sure that if you've got a team, they're not all going into different directions like this, because this is super messy, right? And everyone's just going, oh, I'm going to do links, I'm going to do content, I'm going to do admin, I'm going to do design, etc. Very messy. And not everyone is moving in the same direction. Instead, what you want to do is set a KPI over here, and your whole team is rowing in the same direction, focused on that. And essentially, the KPI should be related to money, right? And then your whole team is focused on one thing instead of trying to do their own things, which they were doing previously. And so, in terms of KPIs, you want to set some sort of revenue goal, right? And if you, for example, I've been sat through like trainings with Matt Diggity, for example, in Chiang Mai, and he talks about how you can do a profit share with your team, which means they win, you win, and you set high targets to ensure they maximize the amount of money your website makes, right? That just keeps everyone in the same direction. Now, you could do that for your link builder, you could do that for your admin and your writer. The other thing you can do is output-based goals. So you can have people focused on X amount of links with XER. You could also have people focused on content production, traffic targets, right? These are all output goals that you could measure. Now, in terms of KPIs, you might say, well, how much do you pay them? I would say, 20 to 40% of profit share is very reasonable. And that's going to be enough to make sure it's financially rewarding for them and for you. Plus, the more money they make, the more money you make, so everyone wins. Additionally, what you can do is just make sure that is a 90-day KPI, right? So every 90 days, you want to make sure that you review this target and set new targets with them so that you can manage your team. And this is how you manage multiple sites with a team with the right KPIs and just keep everyone rowing in the same direction. Additionally, you want to keep them focused on the weekly targets, right? The weekly progress towards what they're trying to do. So if you set a 90-day KPI and you're like, right, increase revenue to $10,000 a month for this website, then you would have weekly targets where you review one-to-one with them directly in terms of what they're supposed to achieve and how they can achieve it. And you basically get them to introspect on what they can improve. Now, I'm actually going to pull up an interesting template right now that an old coach of mine gave me, which is very, very powerful. I'm just trying to find it. Where is it now? Let me pull up. I'll show you an example of what this looks like, right? And I'll grab my 90 days KPI sheet. So you would have in your tracker right here, the week, and ideally this would be a 12-week goal, right? Because you're doing this every 90 days. And then additionally, you'd have the goal progress, e.g. money made, if I can spell. And you want them to reflect on the wins plus how to improve each week, right? You don't do this, but your team does. It's very important to make sure they take ownership and accountability for any sort of KPIs that they have. Now, I'm actually going to take that as a KPI tracker. And if you want to get access to that, I'll put it inside my free SEO course. But essentially, with that tracker, with the KPIs, and with the team hierarchy that you've got right there, you can scale and get multiple sites running. Now, obviously, as well, what you want to do is when you're setting up the team and the KPIs and everything else, you want to make sure you keep standards very high. The quality of production and quality of work is super high as well, because you don't want them rushing it. And also, if you don't check, then standards can drop. So, for example, like content quality or link building relevance, or even the anchor text that link builders use can vary if you don't keep a close eye on what they're doing. Repentance says, how do you create so many blogs fast? So for me, again, it's about this whole team process, right? So KPIs, tracking the work, keeping the standards high, and having the right team in place. AMX says, did they target your sites, Julian? Yeah, so all my sites where I had ownership of in Google Search Console in the same account, they got manual action penalties. But again, I've always said from day one, like they probably will get de-indexed. And I was expecting that to come. So it's totally fine with me. I have no resentment. And additionally, if you want to check out more details on that, check out the live stream that I did. Where is it? Right over, where is it now? There we go. This one right over here. Would definitely recommend checking out that video. Pretty interesting right there. And Repentance says, how many blogs do you have and how do you maintain them all? So I have over 100 websites. And in terms of maintenance, so again, it's about KPIs, making sure everyone's focused on revenue and output and having the right team in place. So it's all coming down to this system right here. In terms of actually maintaining your website, right? So what you can do, probably not a very good example because this site got hit massively. But what you can do is you can go onto your website, then keywords, and compare, say, versus the previous month. And this is a really powerful way to just maintain your site. And you would look at the traffic changes in terms of the negative traffic changes, and that will help you figure out, okay, which pages do I need to re-optimize? MX says, what's better for content pruning, deleting, or no indexing? Does it matter for Google? So, very experimental approach, and it's not something I've tested personally. This is just what I've seen in terms of case studies. So, I don't want to be like one of those SEOs who's not actually doing SEO and then telling people how to do it. That would be, totally against my principles. But from what I've heard, when I've studied Authority Hacker and the tips that they give, they actually talk about de-indexing the content. So you don't delete it, because people who land on the site still might want to check it out for user experience, but you would no index the content so that it's still live on the site, but it's just not set up for SEO and it's not indexed on Google's index. Is the code to text ratio matter? So I'm not really seeing many case studies on this, but what I would say is the more code you have, the slower your website is going to be. Now, if your website is really slow, that's going to affect user experience because the time on page is going to drop, the user engagement on the website is going to drop. And additionally, if you've seen any recent case studies, I might do a video on this in the future, but if you look at some case studies of SGE, typically they say that the faster your website loads, the more likely you are to rank in SGE, right? There's many, many other factors, authority, backlinks, everything else, content quality. But in terms of actually being fed your information into SGE, search generative experience, then you want to keep your website as fast as possible. How do you do that? You minimize the amount of code and you keep it very, very efficient. That is one way to do it. Sam Marine says, what is the limit for keyword difficulty in search volume? Typically, so in terms of keyword difficulty, I like to go for KD 10s or less. That's typically the easiest keywords to rank for. And if you look at any sort of low DR site ranking without many backlinks, you'll see that most of the keywords they go for are low competition. It just makes sense. It's going to be a faster, efficient, more powerful way to rank for that keyword. In terms of search volume, I would actually not worry about search volume too much, right? Because especially for local SEO, if you find keywords that don't actually get any search volume on, say, a tool like Ahrefs, well, that's a good sign because most SEOs won't go for it. It actually does get clicks because otherwise the data wouldn't be there. And also it's going to be a lot less competitive to rank for that keyword. So I think going for like zero traffic keywords works really well. Surfio says, hello, brother. I have a website approved on AdSense. Can you link me how I can get free traffic to my website? Yeah, so you want to check out the free SEO course. I put link in the comments and description. And basically, what this does is it has 8 different ways to generate traffic to your website. I can pull this up right now, and it's got SOPs and workflows and systems for every single one of them, including videos. But basically, if you don't want to rely on SEO, or you want to diversify your traffic, which is always going to be good for SEO anyway, because if you're getting traffic from other sources, then that typically helps your website rank better anyway. But if I pull this up right now, we'll wait for that to load. It's got different ways to get traffic. Now, some of the best ways to do this for free are Facebook groups. Twitter is really good. I know a lot of people say if you're not B2B, Twitter is not good, but I've seen loads of sites doing really well on Twitter. Instagram can work as well. I used to do that back in the day. So I used to have a paleo Instagram account that got loads of traffic just from the link in my bio. And then I would post like viral content all the time. And I'm going to present, that was going way back though. You're talking like 4 or 5 years ago. Don't do that anymore. So if we look at this free SEO course right here, and we shall scroll down to the traffic diversification section right here, you will see 8 different ways to generate more traffic to your website, right? So Facebook groups, Twitter, YouTube is absolutely amazing because it will actually feed into SEO anyway. LinkedIn, very powerful way to get more traffic. And there's also 8 more ways to get traffic there. Now, even if you just select one of them, you're going to be more diversified away from potential updates that could hit your site, right? And each one of these actual videos comes with loads of different notes, loads of different workflows, etc., different weekly targets, pretty much everything you need to know. So link for that is in the comments. Feel free to get it. Gazan Farsangi says, Google not indexing my site's pages. In the Search Console, sitemap submitted, but not all pages were indexed. So it sounds like you got an indexing problem. What I would recommend is making sure you improve the internal links on your site. Also, making sure that you're building backlinks to your site long term, because that will help your website get indexed better and rank better. And additionally, what you can also do is make sure that you're using some indexing tools, right? So there's lots of good indexing tools out there that can help you index faster. And if you index faster, then everything's going to be easier. Akram says, rookie question here. Can you please explain the difference between LSI, NLP keywords, and entities, and how to use them when writing articles? Okay, so LSI keywords are basically latent semantic indexing keywords, right? So when you look at your competitors, for example, and you see who's ranking on the first page of Google for any sort of keyword you want to target, typically they'll not just be ranking and optimizing the content for one particular keyword. There'll be related keywords similar to that LSI keyword, and these are basically like contextually relevant keywords. Now, the thing is, if you look, say, at entities versus LSI keywords, entities are actually just things. Like if you see a interview with Carl Roof about this recently, he talks about this with me, where basically entities are just kind of like things. Like, for example, in SEO, it would be relevant names, right? Or relevant companies. These will be entities. So, for example, like Brian Dean or Neil Patel or Matt Diggity, relevant entities related to the keyword of SEO. And then additionally, that might also include companies, right? So it might be like Ahrefs, or it might be SEMrush, etc. These are companies, entities that are actually relevant to SEO as well, that people would use in their content when they're trying to create content around SEO. So that's the difference between entities and LSI keywords. LSI keywords can be more descriptive stuff, right? So not actually the names of things, not actually the names of companies, but just more relevant stuff. And if you want me to go in more detail on that, let me know. Facebook user says, can you tell Fiverr gig promotion strategy? So for Fiverr gigs, I would just try and rank within the algorithm, right? So what you can actually do is just optimize for a keyword that people are searching for directly on Fiverr.com. I can try and pull up an example right here, but essentially it's kind of like a whole different search engine. So I'm going to switch to buying on Fiverr.com, and then I'll share my screen and show you exactly what I mean. Let me pull this up right here. So if we go on to Fiverr, like so, and we look for something related to SEO, say, yeah. And what you can do is, if you type SEO inside the search bar of Fiverr Pro, kind of like we were talking about with the Google Alphabet Soup method for keyword research, you can do keyword research related to Fiverr.com's algorithm, right? Typically, what people are going to be looking for is services, right? So, for example, you could create a service around on-page SEO, YouTube SEO, SEO audits, SEO expert, etc. And from there, what you can do is just figure out, okay, how can I rank for this keyword? Now, typically, if you're creating a gig on Fiverr.com, you want to make sure, and shout out to Jesus M, who's obviously done a great job here. You want to make sure, number one, you're getting lots of good reviews. So this is very important for the algorithm. Typically, if you look at the algorithm on Fiverr.com in the search engine, you'll see that the pages with the most reviews are at the top. So 333, 415, 188. If you scroll down, the pages with the least reviews, for example, like only 2 right here and only 5 right here, are at the bottom. So ideally, if you want to rank at the top, it's a lot about reviews. And then additionally, just include the keyword inside the description, inside the title, inside your gigs. And that's basically how the algorithm works. I also think that having a video helps as well, because that's going to improve your conversion rates. If your conversion rates are high on Fiverr, then you're more likely to get more sales. Stakia says quantity versus quality. Yeah, I would totally agree right there. I actually have a SEO quality control checklist. This is inside my free course as well. And I like to just keep everything inside one place so I don't have to keep sending links everywhere. But as you can see from this manual quality control checklist that we've built out right here, you can actually make sure that you take your existing content, however you make it, and then make sure that you're manually editing it step by step before you publish it. That's the key here, right? I mean, the thing is, if you look at SEO in general, it doesn't really matter how many views you get. It's all about how much money you make, right? And so it's the same with websites. It doesn't matter how many websites you have. Like, yeah, saying 100 is good for the ego and it sounds impressive and stuff like that. But for most people, I think they'd rather have one website that makes $100,000 a month than 1,000 websites that make like $100 a month, right? And so if you're making more money with less websites, you need a smaller team, less time. It's going to be easier to manage, less confusing. You need less experts across less different industries. And so actually having less websites in many ways, as long as you diversify properly, is one of the best ways to do that. And that's how you focus on quality versus quantity. Magnus says, do you have a standard procedure for link building on new sites? Yeah, typically what we tend to do with new sites is just build 3 to 5 backlinks per week. Using outreach, I think outreach is a great way to build backlinks because you're just promoting content, right? So you're saying to websites, right, I've got this nice piece of content. Would you mind linking to it? It's relevant to your content and it looks very natural. And it is a natural way to build links, right? Like if you look at any sort of content that gets backlinks naturally on the internet, typically it's because they have a really interesting piece of content that a lot of websites want to reference inside theirs. Yusuf says, what is a good service out there that can help provide a topical keyword breakdown? So if you want a topical map, essentially, you can order with Topical Titans. I'm just going to try and find the link for that right here. But essentially, if you do want a topical map, you can use that. And it will break down step by step, okay, exactly what you need to do, what you need to publish, etc. I'm going to post a link inside the comments right there if you do want to check it out. Otherwise, you can just do this yourself, right? So if you want to do topical maps yourself, what you would essentially do, I've got loads of tutorials on this, is try and break down the pages and the categories of all the keywords that you want to rank for, right? So for example, if you have a website about birds, you might have 30 different categories of topics you could talk about, like best bird food, best bird products, bird watching, best areas to birdwatch, etc. And then you would have 30 categories underneath each of those. Now, I think honestly the best way to do it is manually, but you can use other ways to automate that as well. Amex says, if I want to start my own SEO agency, do I need agency experience first? And should I work for one for a few months? So I'm going to lay out exactly how it worked for me step by step in terms of running an SEO agency. So obviously I scaled from just being a measly freelancer on Fiverr.com, making like $2 an hour, to having over 100 websites working with us and also a team of 50 people. And when it comes to running any sort of agency as an SEO agency, I don't think that you necessarily need experience of running an agency, but you do need SEO experience needed, right? I've seen lots of successful agencies who have grown and scaled without any sort of experience building their empire, but they understand how SEO works. And I think it's quite a simple sale with SEO. It's quite a logical sale. You're selling to businesses directly. So you don't need to be like Wolf of Wall Street sort of seller, but you do need to have that depth of knowledge that is required when people jump on a sales call with you and they're like, right, how do I do this? What do you think about this? What do you think about the update recently, etc. They want to see expertise from you, and you can't really BS that unless you've done it yourself firsthand. So when it comes to running an SEO agency, I think you do need SEO experience, don't necessarily need agency experience. I didn't have any agency experience when I started building mine. I do think you need to learn and adapt very quickly, and also be prepared to manage difficult people, right? So when you're working with lots of clients and you're scaling up, quite often you have to learn to manage clients who want results fast, who want to see good things in their stats, who want to be managed properly, who want to see the future vision of the business and what you're going to do and how you're going to help them, etc. And so you have to be very resilient when you deal with people, and also be able to build a good rapport with people as well. That's how I've trained my account managers as well. And what I would also say, this helped a lot, was just having some sort of marketing experience in general. Because, for example, if you're working for like a 9 to 5 company, which is what I did for like 5 years before I started my agency, I was dealing directly with like directors of different companies. Loads of different companies were basically hiring me for the marketing across this big group of companies. So I was working for Quadrant Group. They had like 30 different brands underneath it, and I would deal with all the managing directors and the CEOs of each individual brand. And when you do that, you get a lot of experience about marketing in general. You get experience of how to manage clients, and I think that's more important in general. Facebook user, we've already covered the Fiverr question right there. For agencies, should I offer broad, complete, or SEO? So I think it's always better to niche down if you're selling a service as an SEO agency. So, for example, if you look at the biggest companies in link building, typically they just focus on link building. Or if you look at the biggest companies in content creation, they just do that and they master it and they do it really, really well, because you build up a system where you improve that 1%, you stay very focused, and it's much easier to train your team as well. So better to niche down right there. Yusuf says, how much does social signal matter coming from Facebook, IG, TikTok, etc.? So when you've got these sort of signals from other places, I'm gonna pull up an example of what this means essentially. But when you're getting traffic from other places, number one, that's a really good sign that you're a real brand, right? And if you look at the future of SEO, typically with so much AI out there, the biggest differentiator between, say, I don't know, Forbes and some random niche site that just starts today is a brand, right? There's so much trust in the brand. If you have trust in the brand, then people are more likely to click on your name versus everyone else's on the SERPs. So, for example, if you look at Forbes, people trust Forbes. And so if they search for a review and they see Forbes ranking, they're more likely to click on that versus everything else, because they know that name. If they know that name and the CTR is higher, then they're more likely to rank higher as well. Additionally, if you look at search generative experience, and we'll put something like, I don't know, what is SEO, right? If you look at the results for search generative experience, which will be rolled out more and more, like this is just a matter of time before it's rolled out everywhere, you can see that the biggest brands are typically the ones in the top results. Now, how do they become the biggest brands? Because they're putting so much social media content out there, because they're getting so many backlinks, because they're getting so much attention, right? And so if you're publishing content on YouTube or SEO or Instagram or Twitter, etc., these are all signals to Google that you're a real brand. If you're a real brand, you're more likely to rank in search generative experience. You're more likely to get higher click-through rates. You're more likely to get backlinks because your content is shared. It's just going to feed into your whole SEO strategy. If you want to see more stuff on brand building, maybe I'll do a masterclass on that in the future. Is the people also ask strategy still working? So I was speaking to Steve Toff about this. He's got a really good website where basically what he does is, he'll do a guide on, say, dating or something like that, or Tinder or whatever. And inside that guide, he'll cover every single question someone could possibly ask, right? Now, where do you get the questions? You can use the people also ask section right here, right? And then you can just answer these questions within your content. So this strategy works, but what I would avoid right now is going for one page, one question, right? So for example, if you just do a short page on what is SEO and how it works, well, if you look at the way that Google is changing and search generative experience, that is going to be answered literally in one click directly inside Google, People aren't going to click through to your website anymore. And so I wouldn't have one page, one people always ask question, because it's going to get replaced by search generative experience and you won't get any traffic. You might rank on the first page, but no one's going to click on you. And so I would say instead focus on like covering one topic and having different parts of the page that answer every single thing someone could want to know. And if you look at it from the user's perspective as well, for someone who lands on your website, if they land on a guide that is so comprehensive, it answers every single thing they could possibly ask about that question, then they're more likely to interact with it. They're more likely to stay on the page. They're more likely to convert from that content. Right? It's the same with these Q&As. Like if I can answer everyone's question in as much detail as I can, and I do it in a really comprehensive way rather than having like a 2-minute video here, a 2-minute video there, etc. Well, then I'm more likely to get more views, I'm more likely to get more watch time, and I'm more likely to convert this traffic into sales. So I think that's how it works, really. Sam Reen says how to get content ideas for blog and articles. So if you want to get content ideas, there's a few ways. I mean, the keyword research strategy that I was talking about previously works really well, the alphabet soup method. And additionally, just reverse engineer your competitors, right? So reverse engineer your competitors and then look at the gaps. So try and figure out, okay, what's their content talking about? What's mine going to be talking about? And how can I make my article better, right? How can I get it more useful for the user, etc.? Next question, where do you find your team that outsources your blogs? And do you use different teams every different website? So as an SEO agency, we can use the same team across multiple websites, right? So for example, if we're building backlinks by promoting content and doing outreach, feel free to check out a free SEO strategy session in the description if you do want to talk to our SEO agency about doing SEO for you. But basically, with this process, what we can do is we can make sure that we're building backlinks across multiple websites and that the pattern of backlinks looks quite natural as well, right? And then we can vet the backlinks and across our sites too. So we tend to use the same link builders across multiple sites. We tend to have different writers across multiple sites. And the project manager typically stays the same. So the project manager, because they're managing everything across this portfolio, they can make sure that they actually have the understanding across each site. So they're not going to change. GG says, bro, does Quillbot articles still work? I mean, from what I've seen, Quillbot content, not the best, right? Like if you want to create the best content out there, I'm not going to write a YouTube script with Quillbot. No offense to Quillbot. I'm sure that there's many use cases to that tool, but when I've read the actual content, I don't think it's the best in terms of converting that traffic and focusing on quality over quantity. Amex says, are niche sites worth the effort now, or should we focus on parasite, rank and rent partnerships? It's up to you. I mean, like if you watch the interview between me and Gail Breton a couple of months ago, it's a really interesting interview because he actually demonstrates and talks about multiple different case study sites that are performing very well. And even though they're niche sites, they're doing everything right, in terms of the content quality. So niche sites absolutely work. They can rank, but you've got to do the content in the right way, right? That's what it's all about. And if you look at a lot of the sites that are performing the best, typically they do have direct experience or they have some sort of expert in place writing the content. So for example, if you look at one of the websites I reference a lot since the core update who have performed really well, which is cakesbymk.com, they actually have YouTube videos where they're showing exactly how to make cakes and how to cook them and all that sort of thing. And also all the content is manually handwritten, right? And if you look at those niche sites, they're going to be performing really well because they have expertise. Now, the only caveat to that is you can do everything right and still not rank. There's collateral damage in every update. And so you see a lot of sites take a big hit as well. Doran says, how does it make sense to make any SEO AI websites right now and work for the next 6 months, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so, I mean, for me, I can't really talk about that openly on the channel, I don't think anymore. But I would say that SEO is absolutely still working. So, for example, if you look at the latest poll on my YouTube channel, and I'll pull it up right now, we can talk through it. I basically ran a poll that looked at whether people are bullish or bearish about SEO for the next 10 years, right? So you can see the poll right here. Let's open it up. It got 571 votes, which is pretty decent actually. And you can see that 63% of people are bullish about SEO in the next 10 years, right? Now, if you look at some of the comments, it's quite interesting what people are saying. Some people will say that people are not using search by then, it's obvious. And people are saying that a lot of info content will be AI generated, right? But SEO for products and services will be alive and well. I think that's a really good point, right? So, for example, a lot of people, they don't just want an AI generated answer when it comes to products. Like they want to see firsthand experience of people using it. They want to see how it works in practice, etc. And you can't really fake that with AI or any other sort of content. And so if you're creating SEO content for products and services, like that's got a really good future. I absolutely think that as well. Some people said it's a totally stupid question, but that was the whole point. So thanks for asking. And one of the other things here as well, there's a lot of pessimism about SEO right now because of all the core updates, and a lot of people took a hit right there. But you got to bear in mind this is a long-term game, and as long as you're constantly adapting and learning, then you're going to be totally fine. Someone else said SEO will change. Informational content like what is SEO will die. Yeah, actually, that's funny because I was just talking about that. And shop SEO will exist. Yeah, so I think, again, products, services, they absolutely have a future. And to be honest, with that sort of content, are you going to generate it with AI? Probably not. Like, you're going to create content that's actually in depth and answers to people's questions and has some sort of human element to it. Like, if you look at all the YouTube videos that I create, they have a lot of human elements to it. And that seems to be what attracts people the best. Kirill says, good morning. Shout out to Kirill. And what's the best AI? So I think, honestly, I can't really talk about that publicly again. So I'm not going to answer any more questions about this. But if you want to learn how to create content that actually ranks, just check out the SEO content quality checklist. Link is inside the comments description. Kirill says, do you review websites on your stream? We might do that in the future, but I think you have to be very, very careful what you show publicly and how you show it and that sort of thing. So you have to be right careful there. And Kirill says, what did you do to your agency's website? Did you remove bad pages recently? Yeah, so basically just rolled it back to pre-ChatGPT days. And then also, took a lot of content down just to see what happens and then submit it for a manual review. So we'll see what happens. Still waiting to hear back on that. GG Slayer says, to get your first agency clients, should you have a landing page like starting SEO agency with no portfolio and straight up making a landing page? So if you're running an agency, I think just one page is totally fine. Like, you just want one sales page that converts really well. Same for any sort of business, right? If you have one page that converts really well, you're not doing it for SEO, but you're doing it to convert any traffic that you send there, then that works fine. And I don't think it needs to be anything fancy. The main thing is that you focus on generating clients and that you reach out to a lot of people in the first place, right? The more people you reach out to and get attention of, the more people are likely to actually buy from you. And also, one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of agencies make and freelancers is that they spend all their time on the website, but they spend very little time actually on sales calls or trying to generate clients, right? And the real magic happens when you get on sales calls and actually start speaking to people and reaching out to them. Darren says, I made a good quality content in a low competition niche and it grew to 8K per month in 3 months. I didn't do any spam and still got killed 9% of traffic after the update. Number one, I'm really sorry to hear that. Number two, I would say there's probably been a lot of collateral damage in the latest update, right? So I've seen a lot of manually edited sites take a big hit, right? And I think that just happens every update. And it's one of those things. But what I would say is, if you check out the traffic diversification methods inside my free SEO course, you can get that, and it works really well. Samarine says, if a website is new, what strategy should apply to rank on Google? I would keep it simple. Keywords, content, backlinks, create the best quality content you can. Go for the right keywords that you're actually going to rank for. So low competition, KD 10 or less, that are typically going to bring in more money to your site, and then also build backlinks to your site, right? So typically we aim to build 3 to 5 backlinks. I'm not saying like that's a magic number, but that's typically what we do for most new sites that we build out, and it seems to work really well. Best Ecom says, how to handle EEAT on different sites and different niches. So what I would say there is try and get an expert for each site, right? So if you want the best possible EEAT for each site, then try and get an expert who's actually passionate and actually has some personal branding. across each site. Now that might get expensive, which is why, again, it's better to have one website that's performing really well rather than 1,000 websites. And, it becomes a lot more complex and complicated. I mean, you can add maybe 10% more revenue to your business, but 130% more complexity to your business if you roll out another site or another team or another expert into the field. So yeah, you got to be careful there. And when it comes to handling the EAT, you can actually just reach out to experts on LinkedIn, on Twitter, etc. Just find someone talking about your niche and then reach out to them and say, hey, do you mind reviewing my content and adding your name to it? Can I pay you? How much would it cost per month, etc.? That's probably the best way to do it. Additionally, what you can do is just build out social media platforms for each website that you have and make sure that you're actually sort of taking the content that you have, chopping it up so it's native for that platform, and then posting it from there. If you look at, for example, my YouTube channel, what we do often is we take that content and then we chop it up for Twitter, for LinkedIn, for Facebook groups, etc. And it's the same sort of message of the content, but it's created natively to build more EAT across each platform. Looper says, is Yoast SEO enough to rank in search engines? So Yoast SEO, it does the basics, right? So if you just want to focus on the basics, meta tags, meta keywords, optimizing your page, getting the right URL structure, etc., then it works. Samreen says, which SEO is best, Yoast or Rank Math? A lot of people say Rank Math is the best. I just had a situation where it de-indexed all my content, so I didn't use it again. Honestly, I've ranked without Rank Math and I've ranked just with Yoast, so I don't plan to switch anytime soon. Maybe I'll do a review on both in the future. Better Try Again says, what's the difference between SEO and hashtag? Not sure what the question is there, but feel free to clarify it and I'll try and answer it better. And 4M45 says, thank you so much for the detailed answer. Happy to help. Do you have any idea on how to rank in the recipes niche, knowing how competitive it is? Yeah, I'm not sure. I actually saw a article. I think it was on Search Engine Journal recently. It might have been Search Engine Roundtable, something like that. They were talking about how a lot of AI spam sites that are still ranking are ranking in the recipes niche, right? And so it's super competitive because you're competing with SG, you're competing with AI sites, you're competing with people who are actually passionate about the topic. And so it's really, really tough. I mean, I think backlinks and authority and brand plays a big part. EAT plays a big part, but these are all long-term games, right? I don't think there's any quick hack that can help you overnight. Like, it's going to take a lot of time and it's a high-risk strategy. But if you want to find more niches, check out my video yesterday on how to find SEO niches quickly. Banuja says how to get more backlinks for a new website. So I would recommend that you actually just focus on outreach, right? So promote your content, create really in-depth, comprehensive guides, and then promote that content to other websites via outreach. You can reach out to other websites, whether that's through social media, through email, etc. Say, hey, I've got this guide. Would you mind linking to it? They might have to negotiate a bit back and forth with you, but that's essentially how it works step by step. And I've repeated that process over and over and over again. Works really well. Should a person just starting purchasing Ahrefs, and what price package do you consider using? So I think if you look at Ahrefs now and the pricing, I can pull that up for you. They've changed a lot, right? So in the past, they really used to be like for everyone in terms of a tool. I think in terms of how they've priced themselves now, it seems to be more like they're about targeting agencies. Now, I can't say 100% whether that's the case or not, but it seems to be like they're not affordable for most sort of beginners. So I'm going to share my screen. I'll show you an example of what we mean. So if we open this up. All right, so if you're a beginner, you're probably not making anywhere near $100 a month for your SEO website, right? You're just getting started, you're getting off from zero, and also you don't get that much in terms of the package, right? And Ahrefs is by far my favorite tool in SEO. Like, I don't get any affiliate commission or anything for using them, but I'll still recommend them because I like their tool a lot. But if you look at the pricing right here, you'll see that it's kind of out the reach of beginners. And I think they've openly said that as well in the past. Whereas, for example, if you look at, I don't know, something like SE ranking, and we'll open up them, they actually have a free trial. So you can do all your keyword research and everything up front and then decide whether you want to buy it or not. And I think the pricing is a lot more affordable, right? So it's pretty much half the price for the essential package. And that's probably your best bet. Additionally, what you can also use is Ubersuggest is another one. And these are not like the best tools in the world, but you're a beginner, right? And if you're a beginner, then you don't need the best tools in the world. Additionally, I think there's one by Jaume Roos. I hope I pronounced his name right. We had him on an interview on the channel as well. and he's got one called Clixo. And this is more targeted towards beginners. It's a lot more affordable. If we check out the pricing right here, shout out to Yame, it's $25 per month. Now, that's probably a lot more affordable for beginners watching this channel. Maybe I'll do a review on each one and show you what it's like. If you want to see that, I can do a video review on each of these. But yeah, that's basically how it goes. And I would say if you want an affordable option, you're a beginner, go with something lower range. If you're an agency and you want the best data, or you're an enterprise level SEO business, then of course use Ahrefs. Like it's the best tool out there. And you pay the price for that. So, Kirill says, inspired by you, I've started an agency website, generated like tons of pages, I got traffic, but it's still little, planning to remove some content too. Yeah, so if you're an agency, like you don't necessarily have to rely on just organic SEO, right? You've got so many options available to you. One of the best ways to get clients quickly, I would recommend this for any agency or any SEO freelancer watching this, or whatever niche you're in, whether you're in ads or PPC or email marketing, etc. Start doing some YouTube videos. YouTube videos are the best way to get clients. And once you build an audience and you build expertise and authority and trust, you win it. You're winning all the way down to the races. Doran, if that is even a phrase. Doran says, buddy, you're doing a great job. Keep it going. Thank you very much, buddy. And thank you, Doran, for posting. Really appreciate the kindness. Good to see some positivity. Looper says, if we update the content, is this new change apply also in the Google Search Console? So if you update your content, what you want to do is reindex it inside Google Search Console, plug in URL into Search Console, and then just reindex it from there. And Mr. Anonymous says, how to get more traffic for a blogger. So I've covered already. I don't want to repeat myself, but because I'm trying to help everyone watching and I don't want to waste their time, be respectful of them. But essentially, you can get traffic from multiple different ways. Check out the free SEO course inside the comments inscription, and it covers 8 different ways to diversify your traffic. And I might even add more and more and more different tutorials to that, because there's so many more opportunities out there in terms of Instagram, in terms of, for example, Pinterest. There's so many different ways you can get traffic, and so I should cover each one in detail. And then you don't have to worry about updates, because whatever happens, you've always got traffic and you've always got a reliable source of diversifying your traffic. And that way, you're all good. Best Ecom says, love you, bro. You are so humble, so genuine. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That's super kind. And thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Mr. Anonymous says, do you have any idea how to rank in the science niche? All right. Let's have a cheeky gander. It depends what sort of niche you're in, because obviously science is a big, big topic. But I'm going to pull up Ahrefs and we'll go through some keyword research and that sort of thing, and we can build out a game plan. Now, one of the first things that I would do if I was in the science niche is be quite wary, because if you need some EAT on your site, then you actually want to be a doctor or a scientist, right? If you don't have that, then you're going to have to hire someone. And if you're a new site and you're not making much money, it's going to be very expensive to hire someone. It might not be profitable. But ignoring that, if we go on to something like science, which is a very broad topic right here, we can go into keyword ideas. We'll filter down to KD 10 or less, just find some easy keywords to go for. And we're also going to filter down to lowest DR. Now, I've covered other tools that you can use if you're a beginner. So if you're struggling with this, you can still use SE Ranking, or you can use Clixo, or whatever tool, SEMrush, whatever you want to use. You don't necessarily have to use Ahrefs. These tools are very similar. They just have different levels of data. So if we go on, I don't know, let's have a look at an example right here. Let's have a look at science symbols, right? And we know from our search that there's DR30s ranking in the top 5, right? So we're not necessarily going to go for this keyword, but if we scroll down right here, we can find a bunch of low DR sites already ranking, and then we can reverse engineer what are they doing and what sort of topics are they covering and how are they ranking, and how can we do the same, right? So we can reverse engineer what they're doing. So if we take this particular website, electrobionics.org, we'll plug that into the dashboard like so. We're going to check out their site, and we'll see what sort of keywords are they ranking for and getting traffic for. Now, they're not getting a massive amount of traffic, which is not a good sign to me, but they are a DR14 competing in a difficult niche that requires a lot of EAT. And then from here, you can see, okay, these keywords, pretty easy to rank for, right? Because they're ranking 3rd, 5th, 2nd, etc. When I check out the site, I can't see many elements of EAT, which is quite interesting. They do have some details right here, but there's no like official face to the website, etc. So there's room for improvement, whether that's their site or whether you start a new site too. And then what we can also do is just look through these keywords and see if there's any more low DR sites ranking, and then how can we compete with that? right? So DR14 right there. Yeah, not a lot of low authority sites ranking. So we'll go back to the search results and we'll see what else we can go for, right? So for example, what color is science? That's an interesting keyword right there. And you can see a DR7 ranking in the top 10. You just want to keep going through and keep trying to find more and more science related low DR sites that you can realistically compete with. And then again, you would go through the workflow, which is keywords, content, backlinks. In my free SEO course, I talk about how to do each one of them. I also talk about it openly on my YouTube channel too. And you just build out the plan from there. But I think the main thing is just trying to find low DR sites that are ranking and getting traffic for these particular keywords, right? So this is a good opportunity right here. So if we look right here, you can see that we've got NewYorkScienceTeacher.com as a DR31, getting a decent amount of traffic for their keyword. And that's a good website to reverse engineer for figuring out, okay, what type of content, what type of keywords, what type of backlinks do I need to build? And they've already done the research for you. So it's just a case of figuring out, okay, what can I do to compete with that? Now, also, what you'll see from this particular site, this is a great example, is that since the March Google Core update, they've performed really well, right? So their traffic has gone from 3,400 to 3,700, just an estimate, but that gives you an idea. They're ranking for a bunch of keywords. And so using this process, we can reverse engineer, okay, how can I do the same? How can I achieve similar results? And that's pretty much it. Dorian says, if you're starting a new website, what is the max content you can upload in the first day? Later, I plan 5. What? Okay. So I would stray away from trying to publish as much content as you can, right? So I wouldn't think in terms of quantity, I would think in terms of quality, right? So instead of thinking how much content can I produce from day one, what expand me, etc., try and focus on like, right, how can I create the best content possible for the user that's actually going to rank and stay ranking and not get hit by updates every single update, and then just go from there. So focus on quality, not quantity, I would say is the answer to that topic. Daniel says top authority versus backlinks, which are more powerful in 2024 for rankings? Please answer. So, really good question right there. And what we can do is we'll open up Ahrefs right here and we'll put something like topical authority into Google, right? And if we look at this particular keyword, what we can do is figure out, okay, our website's ranking with topical authority or are they ranking with backlinks? How can we do that? What we can do is we can go to the first page of Google right here and we can look at, okay, which pages are ranking and why they're ranking, right? So we can see the number of backlinks pointing to each page. Now, if you look at this particular search result, you'll see that the pages with the most backlinks are ranking at the top, and the pages with the least backlinks, 4, 17, 196, are ranking at the bottom, right? And if we go to the second page right here, we'll see the pages with the least backlinks, 0, 0, 0, 2, ranking on the second page. So for the keyword toggle authority, I don't see any sites without backlinks ranking, and I see that the way the SERPs are sort of correlated and the way that they're ranked is by backlinks, not by topical authority. Having said that, what I would say is topical authority is a powerful tool as well. So, really you want to use both of these hand in hand. But what would I say is more powerful? Backlinks or topical authority? It looks like backlinks, right? And we can see that from the proof, looking for a keyword that is related to the question you just asked. And yeah, that's basically it. So if you do want to get a free SEO strategy session about building more backlinks to your website and achieving topical authority, feel free to book in free SEO strategy session. And Dorian says, due to spammy content update, what's a good amount of monthly articles per month for a new starting blog and how to schedule that for next month's known recent Google update? So I would, again, focus on quality, not quantity, right? So don't think in terms of, okay, what's spammy, what's not. Just think in terms of, okay, what looks natural and how can I make sure my content is best? If you do that, it's a guiding philosophy that's probably going to help you a lot more. Wasif says, can we still rank with AI, which is humanized? I want to start, but still confused due to this update. So I would say, are there sites ranking out there with AI content? Absolutely. And you don't necessarily have to use AI for content production, right? So, for example, if you look at the interview between me and Steve Toff, which was this one right here on my YouTube channel, you can Where is it now? Let me try this one right here, 11 days ago, right? So we talk about detailed workflows that you can use ChatGPT. What we say specifically in that video is that you don't necessarily use AI for content production, but you can use it for pre and post workflows related to SEO, right? So, for example, keyword research. For example, asking ChatGPT, okay, how can I improve my content and make it more useful? Comparing it versus Google's helpful content guidelines and getting some ideas there. And by doing that, you're more manually editing the content. So you're not creating the content with AI. You can write that yourself with humans, and it's probably going to be better. But you can pre and post workflow create AI workflows that actually help you optimize. Magnus says tips to ensure fast page load speed. I would say NitroPack. NitroPack, probably one of the best tools you can install for your website. Optimizes your website automatically for core web vitals and also speed. And it's probably the easiest and fastest way to do it. If you're not getting a lot of traffic, it's actually free. So I think that you get like free up to like 5,000 views or something like that per month. So yeah, pretty good tool right there. Daniel says, do Web 2.0 backlinks work in 2024? Should we go for these or not? What do you think? I wouldn't go for them. Web 2.0 is total waste of time, tend to be no followed, and they don't tend to be exclusive, right? So if you want to get the best quality backlinks possible, then focus on outreach, I would say. Outreach tends to work the best. 4M45 says, is PBN still working? I haven't actually tested PBN, so I can't tell you there. But what I would say is a high risk as well, right? So if you're using PBNs, there's a risk that comes with that. And, would I recommend that on the channel? No. I think you have to be very, very careful. Sam Reen says, which one is easy to rank for, freelancer or agency website? So it depends what niche, what service you're selling, etc. Typically, the keywords that are going to be related to an agency will be related to a freelancer as well, right? So people won't necessarily be looking for like content agency, but they will be looking for like, okay, best SEO content or SEO expert, that sort of thing. Faraz says, my website on March the 5th came down to nearly 0 impressions. After 2 days, it recovered. Next, after a few days, it lost all impressions again. Now it's down only. It's a human AI mix. Yeah, I saw loads of sites, human and AI, get hit during this update. I think there was some collateral damage, like I say. And yeah, it was a pretty brutal one. I think 50% of the community on Twitter, on YouTube that I polled said that it was a brutal update. So I think a lot of websites got hit. But if you want to diversify your traffic, if you still want to make money, but diversify your traffic, feel free to check out the free ChatGPT SEO course in the comments and description. Yassine says, is this statement true? Word count is no longer important. Now websites with dense quality info are winning. So when it comes to content quantity, right? For example, let's say I do a guide on SEO. I'm not going to be focusing on creating like the longest SEO guide in the world. I'm going to be focusing on how can I answer this question in the fastest way possible that still helps the user, still gives them all the information they need. And I think that's the best way to reverse engineer it. It's like, okay, it doesn't matter how long it is. It matters, okay, what do I cover inside the content? What's the quality like? And does it answer everything that someone wants to know? Repentance says, are all your websites generate money? Not all of them. Some of them won't generate money for months, and then it will take a bit of a waiting game. And Daniel says, my competitors are ranked based on number of backlinks they have, but they don't have any single related posts in this scenario. Should I also focus on getting backlinks or building topical authority? For me, I mean, with your content production, right, you're always gearing towards topical authority anyway. So you want to stay laser focused as a niche site on content around your industry, right? So for example, if you're in the SEO industry, then you would answer by the highest leverage and the most relevance, which topics are most relevant to that. So it might be like, okay, SEO and then link building and then on-page SEO, and you just build out topical authority gradually. With backlinks, focus on building backlinks. I tend to find that they actually help a lot, but these two things work hand in hand. So you want relevant content that builds topical authority, and then you also want backlinks that are going to help rank your site too. And Mr. Anonymous says, I want to start another blog, which niche is best. So if you want to learn more about niche research, check out my video yesterday on niche research, because that will help you a lot. It will teach you a step-by-step workflow to figure out, okay, what's the best niche to go after. And it shows you like a really quick way to do it, and then how to objectively compare each niche. And then from there, you can easily implement that and action it. So whether it's health or fitness or foods or real estate or politics, all of these niches can work, but you want to compare them objectively, get all the options that you can, and then you can compare side by side. Okay, this one looks the most attractive. This one has the best opportunities, etc. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. If you want to get my free SEO course, link is in the comments and the description. And if you do want to book in a free SEO strategy session, let me pull this up right now for you. Present my screen. You can book in a free SEO strategy session where we'll show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors per month and generate thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot without Facebook ads or anything like that. And basically, you get an SEO domination plan. We'll answer any questions you have. You'll discover the best link building strategy for your website. And yeah, we can just answer those straight on the call. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. Bye-bye.